Is there a timeline for boy life? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Winging It with AC. My name is AC. So, this is like, I don't know, my fourth, I don't know how many times I've tried shooting this right now. And I was just crying too much. So initially I was trying to share my personal experience when it comes to baby blues and postpartum depression, but for now it's not working out because it's still raw and emotional for me. So I'm just going to talk about what postpartum depression is, what baby blues is, and our society's response to it or behavior towards it, for lack of a better word. Now, baby blues happens, it starts like 2 to 3 days after birth, and it continues for about 2 weeks after birth. And some of the signs of baby blues include anxiety, crying a lot, difficulty sleeping, feeling inadequate, difficulty eating. Those are some of the signs of baby blues, and it just usually lasts for about 2 weeks after birth, and then it subsides. Now, sometimes postpartum depression can be mistaken for baby blues because some of the symptoms or the signs are similar, but then with postpartum depression it's prolonged. It can last to up to about a year after birth. And there's of course the mild, severe forms of the postpartum depression. Now, with the postpartum depression, some of the other signs of it are difficulty bonding with your baby, withdrawing from family and friends, having suicidal thoughts, wanting to harm yourself or the baby, and there are other signs too. Now, what I want to say or talk about is the fact that it's an issue that is not talked about enough in Ghana, in our society. So as a woman, when you get married, everybody is just saying, and it's the pressure always comes from the woman. The pressure always comes from the married woman and the older mothers and aunties, like hurry up and give birth, and don't try and climb your career ladder till you finish having all your kids. Just keep popping up babies. But nobody tells you about the harder parts of motherhood. Specifically, right now we're talking about this part of motherhood where you experience all of these feelings and you are wondering if you are normal. You're wondering if there's something wrong with you. Honestly, throughout my life, I've never had any mother, like mother figure or mother or auntie, talk about postpartum depression, talk about baby blues, but they know how to talk about the fact that you need to give birth, you need to get pregnant. Are you pregnant yet? And I think that a part of it is because our society tries to cover up things. Our society doesn't like to talk about sensitive things. I think it's the same with sex education in our society. Parents don't really do that. I mean, growing up, and it's the same with this, because it's like motherhood is so glorified in our society, in the African society, in the Ghanaian society. So it's like when you've given birth, you're supposed to wear your blue and white outfits, and be strutting around proudly with your little umbrella in the sun and your baby. Like you're supposed to be proud, you're supposed to be happy that, hey, I've given birth and this is my baby. So it's like, I think that due to that, a lot of women can't seem to speak up about the fact that this is how they're feeling. They feel like they don't love their baby. They feel like they can't connect with their baby. They're just crying all the time. So as the younger generation is coming up, I think that we need to be more open about these things. Honestly, I don't know what else to say about this, because I may probably end up venturing into my experience and then I'll start crying all over again, which is something I'm trying to avoid right now. So I think I'll just leave it at this. We need to have these conversations. So if you're a young mother and you've been through it, you experience baby blues, you know, try and reach out to other young mothers, you know. And if you're a young mother, you just gave birth and that's how you are feeling. You are feeling like you are anxious, you can't sleep, you can't concentrate, and you feel like you don't love your baby, you feel like you're not bonding with your baby, you feel like you are not happy, even though you feel like you should be happy because everybody around you is rejoicing that you've given birth, you've had a safe delivery, you have your baby, yeah, you too, you are a mother, or yeah, now you too, you're a mother of 3. And then we need to remember this, that it doesn't only happen. You may not experience baby blues, you may not experience postpartum depression maybe with your first child or even with your second child, but it can happen with your third child, or it can happen with your fourth child, you know. So don't think that maybe you've given birth, it didn't happen, so yeah, fine. It can happen. I was told of somebody, it happened after she had her third child and she never really recovered from it, you know, and her child is grown now, you know. So if you are a young mother, once again, reach out to other mothers that you know have just given birth and just say that, hey, I'm here for you if you need anyone to talk to, you know. And if you're a young mother and you're watching this, or you know somebody else who is going through it, try and find somebody to talk to, you know, so that you don't keep it to yourself. You know, you can talk to your husband, but I think that it would be good to talk to a health professional, you know. Postpartum depression is medically diagnosed, but baby blues is not. But the depression is very serious and it's supposed to be diagnosed by a health professional. So if these are the things you are feeling and you read about it and you think that, okay, this is what you're going through, I think it's best to talk to your doctor, a medical professional. Now, another thing that I also noticed that, okay, personally, when I was pregnant and I was reading everything I could about my pregnancy and childbirth and delivery and everything, I always ignored the articles that were about postpartum depression, and I didn't even hear about baby blues until I'd given birth and I was going through it, you know. So I just ignored it because African mentality, oh, we don't get depressed, we are happy people. Who has depression when you are black or you're African? So it's only after I was going through it that I decided to start reading about it. So don't choose certain aspects of pregnancy and motherhood and childbirth to focus on and read about and educate yourself about. Educate yourself about all aspects of it. And motherhood, yes, it's a beautiful thing, but there are the hard aspects to it, there are the difficult aspects to it. So we need to stop pushing women, give birth, okay. And then another thing that I also wanted to say was that I felt like I was traumatized by my childbirth experience, my delivery experience. And I found it so annoying that because I felt like I was traumatized, I felt like, okay, right now, I can't fathom having a second child. That's how I felt because of my experience, because of the trauma that I feel like I experienced. But then when you say it, then other people are like, oh, that's what they always say. Oh, that's what they always say after their first child. Oh, that's what we always say after our first child. I feel like when you say that, you are dismissing the person's experience. You are dismissing the person's pain. You are dismissing the person's trauma, which I feel is not right, okay? Maybe somebody will say I'm being overly sensitive. I don't think I'm being overly sensitive. Rather than telling somebody that, oh, that's what they always say after the first child, but oh, you get over it, you need to sit the person down and depending on how close you are with the person, sit the person down, and especially if you've been through it, because those comments always come from mothers, okay, people who have already given birth and they have 2-3 children. But I did have some of those comments from single friends who maybe they already knew friends who had given birth, who had after their first had said, oh, I'm done, I'm not going to give birth again because of the experience, and then they ended up having a second or third child. You know, some of those comments came from such people, which I feel like, okay, you haven't been through it yet, so you don't get to tell me that. But I don't really say that. I just say okay, and then I go back to my business. But I think that that is not something you should say to somebody who says that, okay, it was a difficult experience for me. Right now, I don't think that I want to have another child. Just say okay. Just find out from the person how the person is feeling. Find out from the person if they want to talk about it. If you can refer them to somebody, do that, so that let them go through their own healing process. And then when it comes to the point where they feel like, okay, I think I'm okay now, maybe, yeah, I think I can survive another child, then hooray. But don't just dismiss it and say, oh, that's what they always say after their first child. No, I don't think that is right. So I know this video is all over the place. It's mainly because I'm trying to avoid talking about my experience now. Probably months down the line, I won't want to be as emotional about it. So yeah, that's part of my postpartum recovery, postpartum, my experience with baby blues and postpartum depression. Up to now, I'm not sure if maybe I was mildly depressed because I wasn't diagnosed. I never went to see a health professional. Now, I think that gynecologists, health professionals, midwives, I never really went for an antenatal class. I like antenatal classes, so I don't know if it's something that is even talked about there. Honestly, I would assume that in Ghana it's not, and I think that it's something that should be talked about as antenatal classes. When you visit your doctor, doctors should inform mothers of, it doesn't matter if that's your first pregnancy or your third pregnancy or fourth pregnancy, it should always be talked about with every pregnant woman that baby blues is real, postpartum depression is real, these are the signs, these are the symptoms. So if you deliver and you feel like this how you are feeling, come in and let's talk, or come in and let me refer you to somebody. One of the apps I was using when I delivered, I was supposed to, it gave me a questionnaire to fill out. And it was basically a questionnaire, even two apps. It was a questionnaire where you fill out and then they can tell whether it's supposed to assess your mental health, whether you are fine or whether you are going through baby blues or whether you are slightly depressed. And I think other people talked about the fact that, like, when they go to the hospital, and these other people I'm talking about is online people who are outside Ghana, who are in the US, who are in the UK, where when they go for their postnatal checkups, they fill such questionnaires so that the doctor they are going to see can assess their mental health, to see if they need further assessment, to see where their head is at concerning their postpartum recovery and their mental health. Well, first of all, when I went for my checkups, there was nothing like that. I never got any questions from my doctor like that. And I don't think that a lot of doctors, I'm just going to make that assumption. I really feel like I'm not wrong in that assumption, that a lot of doctors probably don't even ask about that, to even refer you to a mental health professional who help you through what you're experiencing. So, as young women, as young men, we need to have this conversation more and more, so that people are open about, so that people can seek the help that they need and not hide it and get worse, or hide it and feel like they are not enjoying motherhood because they are supposed to, because society is expecting you to be dancing and celebrating and wearing your white for I don't know how many months, to announce to the world that you are a mother, you are a dancing mother, you know. So let's have this conversation. If you've been through it, if you know of somebody who's delivered, reach out to the person and say, hey, if we need to talk, I'm here. Okay, I had one person who did that for me, and that was very helpful, because now I could go back to her in times where I really needed somebody to cry on. Yeah, so once again, forgive me for my video being all over the place. I hope that it's brought some awareness. If you're not aware of this issue at all, I hope that it's giving you some awareness on the issue, on the subject, and stop telling women to give birth, especially after they've had their first child, and it's like, hey, so when is the second one coming? Meanwhile, too, as the person is there, she's probably battling a lot of things. Her mental health is not okay, but all you care about is hurry up and have the second one, hurry up and have your third one so that you can bore life. Is there a timeline for boring life? You know, so we need to be careful and more sensitive to these things, and when telling people what to do with their lives and what to do with their wombs. Okay, stop minding somebody's womb and mind your own womb. Okay, all right, so thank you so much for bearing with me. I promise I will talk about my experience in another video, but it probably won't be anytime soon, but it will come, because clearly motherhood is not all rosy. It has its bumps, it has its hard spots, but we'll all get through it. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.